Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today?
Good.
How you doing today? Welcome
Morning,
to First
Earthlings.
Contact
How you doing today?
Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
We have arrived.
First Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
We have arrived.
First Contact Radio.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio.
We have arrived.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Can you hear me? I'm hearing very, very low. Why is that? Don't know. Everything should be working right. I should be hearing myself really good. Aha. That seems to make a difference. Anyway, let's get to it today. Today is the 12th of May, 2015. Sun sign today is in Taurus. Moon sign is in Pisces. So let's take a look at what these are. Sun sign right here. Taurus, Hierophant, all ideas hooking together the spiritual and the physical. Pisces is the moon sign. Pisces is all about bringing together our faith and our ideas and our trust so that we can move forward on the path of life by pulling of all our emotions to make a single decision, because otherwise the Piscean energy are two fish swimming in opposite directions. Okay, so we can't go in different directions. We have to move together in the same path. Henceforth, the idea of faith. In this card, which is Pisces, you have all these different creatures evolving from the water and then moving to being a wolf and the domestication, and then finally getting to the pillars of what is known, and then you have to walk into the unknown. And when you walk into the unknown, that's where the emotions come into play, because you start feeling that you're afraid and all the fears and thoughts that come with going into the unknown. So you need to have faith. You need to not allow your emotions to affect you. So that's the idea of what Pisces is really all about. Bridging those ideas, having that faith and that energy so that we can keep moving forward accordingly. All right, if we look at any aspects that we have for the course of today, let's see here. We just had an aspect between the earlier one at 2 a.m. between Pisces and Saturn. Focus, discipline. Then we're going to go into, we had Venus, some imagination applied into the mix. And as we get into the afternoon, we're going to need to take a new perspective on things here. We have Neptune and the moon both in the same sign. Conjunction, just like where they're talking to each other. Just let me kind of refresh you here. Where's that moon sign here? Okay, here's the moon sign and there's Neptune. Okay, so they're next to each other. So like they're having a conversation, and in that conversation, Neptune's saying, "Hey, you got to look at things differently. Your emotions are gonna get out of whack if you don't. So take some time, look at it another way." And then we get to nighttime, 5:28 p.m., and we got that same moon sign Pisces and Mercury are going to be a square, because you have all these emotions built up, and Mercury wants us to communicate what we're feeling. And so that's what's going on, how to communicate what's going on with all of that. Therefore, we need to get past that block that's there to be able to move past it with clarity. And then tonight, just before midnight, 11:49 p.m., the moon and Pluto, which is deep transformation, go into aspects, so those emotions can really lead us into places where we really become and dig deeper into ourselves to really find some transformation. So That's what's going on there. We got a grid here if you want to check that out. On the Jewish calendar today, 23 Liar, Omer count day 38, 39 tomorrow. So that means 10 days away from the end of the counting. Here we go into the daily thought. Financial planning. Here's how to make an honest living with confidence and minimal worry. Determine how much you need to provide for your family's needs. Next, get into a business that can make that sum of money. Now, put your best foot forward. Do what needs to be done, but do no more than that. More will get you less. Then pray for compassion and trust in the one who provides all life to provide your livelihood as well. You've put out your bucket just the right size in the rain. Now trust that the heaven will fill it to the brim. It's a good analogy. Moon sign is a waning moon going back down from a full moon to the new moon. We're 37% of the way. Solar wind 363.4 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is at a 3 at the moment. If we go down to our coronal holes, we see a few opening up. 13th, 14th, next couple days, we might see some effect from those. Feeling the wind, solar wind, M-class flare 30%, X-class 5%. Geomagnetic storm activities is up there, 40% in the mid-latitudes, 60% in the upper latitudes. So if you're feeling a bit agitated with all of the energy around you, it could be why. All the more reason to really get our emotions under control, because when we feel and we're agitated, sometimes our emotions can play out. And up at the sky, a small telescope will show Jupiter's moon Callisto gradually emerging from the eclipse out of Jupiter's shadow around 11:52 p.m. right next to Ganymede, the brightest of Jupiter's satellites. And there you have it. That's our cosmic weather for today. That's what we're dealing with as we go out and about into the world. So plan accordingly. All right, let's go over to UFO news. It's up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. So what we've got here, first sighting takes us to Argentina. It says Argentina residents witness UFOs during May Day, during the day in May. All right, from Cordoba video here, we got these three lights up there. Argentina residents of Bahia Blanca and Cordoba witnessed UFOs in flight. The identified flying objects were seen and recorded by two men last Sunday and Monday. The videos can be seen on YouTube. Within barely 24 hours notice between them, but separated by a distance of over 800 kilometers, residents of the cities of Cordoba and Bahia Blanca claimed having seen and recorded unidentified flying objects better known as UFOs. In both cases, the recordings, which were made last Sunday and Monday, show luminous objects in an atypical manner. The objects, which have neighbors' banana trees as a point of reference and the restless barking of Teddy the dog in the background, were taken in the Puerdion district of Jorge David Lazarte, who uploaded the recording to YouTube. The video shows a shining object that appears to split into three spheres, subsequently vanishing in seconds in what could be an explosion. The other video, also uploaded to YouTube, was taken by Alejandro Suarez from Bahia Blanca during the afternoon evening last Monday. He is a brown object that appears in the skies of major cities in Buenos Aires from south to west. Okay. His first video is a minute 42 seconds. There's their object right there. Okay. All right, moving on. UFO over Washington, D.C. found on Google Map, May 2015. These two UFOs were found in Washington, D.C. this week using the Google Earth map. These UFOs are near the White House. UFOs has been recorded over the area and are not new to D.C. For instance, the Val Thor case where an alien disc landed in the park near the White House back in March 1957. An occupant named Valiant Thor, from Venus exited, was taken to the Pentagon by the police and met with President Eisenhower. Yes, the photos are of him. Alright, so here's, just go through and see our object. There you go, right there. Okie doke. Here we have another sighting took place over North Hollywood, California. North Hollywood, California. 4th of May 2015. I'm not aware of the UFO detecting software he talks about in this video, but he really got me excited. It's like a Sony camera with facial recognition, but this looks like anomalies in the sky. If you know the software, please let us know where to find it in the comments below. He said this was captured using a free UFO detector software. In North Hollywood, it appears in the upper right corner. Yes, it's quick, but it's anomalous compared to the many captures of birds, planes, etc. Okay, video is a 23-second video that just keeps showing right-hand corner. Slow motion. Alright, it's got to back up here. Okay, it's really, really fast. And enlarge the screen, you'll see it better. Alright, new interesting video footage of a strange UFO sighting recorded near the sun on May 9th. Okay, we have a minute and 18 seconds of this video that captured this object up there by the sun. Okay, this was captured by Street Cap 1. Okay, there's our first one, but let me go over. We have some more by the sun. This time, enormous UFO fires a beam at the sun. As you can see, after the UFO fired a shot at the sun, there was an explosion, a giant flash. Alright, newly numbered active region 12339 rotating the northeastern limb of the solar corona just unleashed a massive X27 flare. The impulsive eruption was short-lasting but produces significant coronal mass ejection, which does not have an earthbound component. As the ejector was discharged, alright, we're going to see this little object momentarily. It's going to be right down there, and you're going to see it appear to... See that? Looks like it's shooting something out from there, doesn't it? And it's shooting it into the sun. What is that? I don't know. But something's there, and then the sun did a ejection, coronal mass ejection, but it wasn't facing our way, so maybe it's helping to diffuse that energy so it wouldn't hit us. Witness says he's stunned and puzzled after taking UFO photos. I've never seen anything like this before after making this discovery. The 60-year-old enthusiast was snapping photos near a science center, but when analyzing the image later, he realized he may have made a shocking discovery. The stargazer could not believe his eyes after analyzing a photograph he took near the planetarium showing what he believes must be an alien spacecraft. Kenneth Parsons, 60, captured the image of the disk near the Winchester Science Center and Planetarium in Hampshire. But upon analyzing the photos later that day, he came across one mysterious image which he could not explain. I took many photos, both the architecture there and the surrounding countryside. When I later reviewed the taken pictures on my PC, I noticed something in the air on the image, although I haven't seen anything flying past at the time of the recording. Naturally, I first thought it was an insect. close to my lens and my camera. After the enlargement, I began to realize instead what had been captured is a disc-shaped aerial object in the background, or midfield, I guess you could call it. A mile away or so, I would estimate. All right. Very interesting. Interesting. And one last one. Here's a book claims the U.S. presidents know the truth about extraterrestrials. A new book claims that all presidents since the war have known about alien visits to the Earth. When U.S. President Reagan said that he met extraterrestrials, most Americans assumed he was kidding. President Barack Obama said in March 2012, landing at Roswell, New Mexico, that I come in peace. The site is famous for the alleged alien spacecraft landing. When asked about the recovering extraterrestrial bodies of the wreckage, he said, "If I told you, I'd have to kill you. We're going to keep our secrets here." A new book, The President and UFOs, A Secret History from FDR to Obama, claims that U.S. presidents from Roosevelt to Obama have known evidence regarding extraterrestrial visitation on Earth, leaving spaceship debris, alien corpse, and resulting in thousands of UFO sightings. Recently, a leaked memo by the U.S. Army Chief of Staff General George C. Marshall to President D. Roosevelt in March 1942 reveals that headquarters came to the determination that the mysterious planes are in fact not earthly, and according to secret intelligence sources, that in all probability of interplanetary origin. In a reply, President Roosevelt urged the finding of practical uses for the atomic secrets learned from the study of celestial devices. In another memo from Roosevelt, he wrote, "Coming to grips with the reality that our planet isn't the only one harboring intelligent life in the universe, will take every advantage of such wonders that have come to us." The authenticity of the memos have been fiercely debated. The memos are just part of multiple pieces of evidence uncovered by Larry Holcomb in his new book. Holcomb stresses that the UFOs exist. Alien life has visited Earth. He explained that evidence is enormous and that no reasonable person can deny the existence of extraterrestrials. Actress Lucille Ball, Shirley MacLaine were in a party together with actor Ronald Reagan, who claimed to have seen a UFO. Initially blocked his road to the party. An alien eventually came up and told Reagan to leave acting and to go into politics. President Harry S. Truman had allegedly formed the Majestic 12 in 1942, a committee of scientists and military who secretly cover up extraterrestrial activities. Late in the Second World War, Dwight D. Eisenhower supposedly met with Winston Churchill to discuss a close encounter of RAF reconnaissance aircraft with a UFO near the English coastline. President John F. Kennedy demanded him to hand over the CIA secret files. President Bill Clinton once said that he attempted to get UFO information that was withheld from him. President Richard Nixon reportedly authorized a UFO documentary to use secret video of an alien craft landing, but was stopped by intelligence chiefs. So, despite what they tell us, we have found out that they may actually know what is going on, much more than they say. So there you have it. That is our UFO news for today. I'll be back momentarily. In the meantime, check it out.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. So, you can hear I got my volume up a little bit better. All right, we're going to move on now to something a bit conspiratorial. You know, sometimes I like to do conspiracies, just get in the mood, sometimes not so much. I feel in the mood. There seems to be a lot of craziness in the air, things that need to be exposed. So, someone's got to do it, right? All right, this next story I've talked about before, years ago in 2011. However, the story has resurfaced, so I'm going to refresh your memory on the story from back then, and then connect it in to how the story is being told now. Remember that incident called 9/11? Remember there was a guy named Bin Laden? Right, well, Bin Laden, who we were told is the one responsible for it, he said he didn't do it after the fact. So we continued to chase after Bin Laden. But here's this article. The article says a top U.S. insider, Bin Laden died in 2001. 9/11 was a false flag. Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under three different administrators, Steve R. Piersnick, says he is prepared to tell a federal grand jury the name of a top general who told him directly that 9/11 was a false flag attempt. Top U.S. government insider Dr. Stephen R. Piersnick, a man who held numerous different influential positions under three different presidents and still works with the Defense Department, shockingly told Alex Jones Show that the Osama bin Laden died in 2001 and that he was prepared to testify in front of a grand jury how a top general told him directly that 9/11 was a false flag inside job. Piersnick cannot be dismissed as a conspiracy theorist. He served as a Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under three different administrations, Nixon, Ford, Carter, while also working under Reagan and Bush Sr., and still works as a consultant for the Department of Defense. A former U.S. Navy captain, Piersnick achieved 2 prestigious Harry C. Solomon Awards at the Harvard Medical School, and he simultaneously completed a Ph.D. at MIT. Recruited by Lawrence Eagleburger as Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Management, Piersnick went on to develop the basic tenets for psychological warfare, counterterrorism strategy, and tactics for transcultural negotiations for the U.S. State Department, military and intelligence communities, and other agencies of the U.S. government, while also developing foundational strategies for hostages rescue that were later employed around the world. Piersnick also survived as a senior policy planner under Secretaries Henry Kissinger, Cyrus Vance, George Shultz, and James Baker, and worked with George W. Bush's election campaign against Al Gore. His record underscores the fact that he is one of the most deeply connected men in intelligence circles over the past 3 decades plus. The character of Jack Ryan, who appears in many of the Tom Clancy novels, was also played by Harrison Ford in the popular 1992 movie Games, is also based on Steve Piersnick. Back in April 2002, over 9 years ago, Piersnick told the Alex Jones Show that Bin Laden, and this article is from 2011, Piersnick told the Alex Jones Show that Bin Laden had already been dead for months, that the government was waiting for the most politically expedient time to roll out his corpse. Piersnick would be in a position to know, having personally met Bin Laden and worked with him during the proxy war against the Soviets in Afghanistan back in the early 80s. Piersnick said that Osama bin Laden died in 2001, not because special forces had killed him, but because a physician I had known that the CIA physicians were treated him and was on the intelligence rostered that he had a Marfan syndrome, adding that the U.S. government knew bin Laden was dead before they invaded Afghanistan. Marfan syndrome is a degenerative genetic disease for which there is no permanent cure. The illness severely shortens the lifespan of the sufferer. He died of Marfan syndrome. Bush Jr. knew about it. The intelligence community knew about it, says Piersnick, noting how the CIA physicians had visited bin Laden in July 2001 at the American hospital in Dubai. He was already very sick from the Marfan syndrome, and he was already dying, so nobody had to kill him, Piersnick said, stating that bin Laden died shortly after 9/11 in his Tora Bora cave complex. Did the intelligence community or the CIA doctor up the situation? The answer is yes. Categorically, yes, Piersnick said, referring to Sunday's claim that bin Laden was killed at his compound in Pakistan, adding that the whole scenario where you see a bunch of people sitting around looking at the screen and look as if they're intense, that's nonsense, referring to the images released by the White House which claimed to show bin Laden and Hillary Clinton watching the operation to kill bin Laden live on a television screen. It's total make-up, make-believe. We're in an American theater of the absurd. Why are we doing this again? 9 years ago, the man was already dead. Why does the government repeatedly have to lie to the American people, said Piersnick. All right, there's a lot more to the article, but you get the idea. So, remember Obama? He did that whole song and dance. They sat there, they watched the screen. You know, he was all like leaning forward because he was intense. They were all interested in what was going on. It's probably just a cartoon, Bugs Bunny or something. I mean, it certainly wasn't the bin Laden raid. Certainly wasn't that indeed, because bin Laden was dead. Dead. So you can't kill a guy twice. I know sometimes it happens, like there's been kids from Sandy Hook that not only died in Sandy Hook, but then there were other schools, like across the ocean in other countries, and one of the kids from Sandy Hook died a second time. So sometimes people do get killed twice. It just depends. It's kind of strange, but every now and then it does happen where people die and then they die again, and we're not supposed to question. We're just supposed to take the government's word on it. Now, the reason I brought that article up about bin Laden, you may wonder why, is because this article recently came out. The Killing of Osama bin Laden by Seymour Hersh. It's been 4 years since a group of U.S. Navy SEALs assassinated Osama bin Laden in a night raid on a high-walled compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. The killing was on the high point of Obama's first term and the major factor in his re-election. The White House still maintains that the mission was an all-American affair, that a senior general, Pakistan Army and Intelligence Service Intelligence Agency, ISI, were not told of the raid in advance. This is false. There are many other elements of the Obama administration's account. The White House story might have been written by Lewis Carroll. Would bin Laden, target of massive international manhunt, really decide that a resort town 40 miles from the Islamabad would be the safest place to live and command al-Qaeda's operations? He was hiding in the open, so America said. The most blatant lie was that Pakistan's two most senior military leaders, General Ashfaz Parez Kayani, Chief of the Army Staff, and the General Ahmad Shushat Parsha, General Director of the ISI, were never informed of the U.S. mission. This remains the White House position despite the array of reports that have been raised, questions including one by Carlotta Gall of the New York Times Magazine, March 19, 2014. Gall, who spent 12 years as the Times correspondent in Afghanistan, wrote that she'd been told by a Pakistani official that Pasha had known before the raid that bin Laden was in Abbottabad. The story was denied by U.S. and Pakistani officials and went no further. In his book, Pakistan, Before and After Osama, Amit Gul, executive director of the Center for Research and Security Studies, a think tank in Islamabad, wrote that he'd spoken to 4 undercover intelligence officers who, reflecting a widely held local view, asserted that the Pakistani military must have had knowledge of the operation. The issue was raised again in February when a retired General Assad Durrani, who was the head of the ISI in the early 1990s, told an Al Jazeera interviewer that it was quite impossible that the senior officials of the ISI did not know where the bin Laden had been hiding, but more probable that they did know. And the idea was that at the time of his location would be revealed, and the right time would have been when you can get the necessary quid pro quo. If you have someone like Osama bin Laden, you're not going to simply hand him over to the United States. This spring, I contacted Durrani and told him in detail that I had learned about the bin Laden assault from the American sources, that bin Laden had been a prisoner of the ISI at the Abbottabad compound since 2006, that Kayani and Pasha knew of the raid in advance and had made sure that the 2 helicopters delivering the SEALs to Abbottabad would cross Pakistani airspace without triggering any alarms, that the CIA did not learn of bin Laden's whereabouts by tracking his couriers, as the White House had claimed since May 2011, but from a former senior Pakistani intelligence officer who betrayed the secret in return for much of the $25 million reward offered by the U.S., and that while Osama did order the raid and the SEAL team did carry it out, many other aspects of the administration's account were false. Where your version comes out, if you do, people in Pakistan will be tremendously grateful. Durrani told me for a long time people have stopped trusting what comes out about bin Laden from the official mouth. There will be some negative political comment and some anger, but people like to be told the truth. And what you've told me is essentially what I've heard from former colleagues who have been on a fact-finding mission since this episode. As a former ISI head said, he had been told shortly after the raid by people in the strategic community who knew that there had been an informant who alerted the U.S. to bin Laden's presence in Baghdad, but after his killing, the U.S. betrayal promises left Kayani and Pasha exposed. All right, there's more to the article. However, you get the point, right? So, we've got a story in 2015 claiming that Osama, I keep getting them mixed up. Osama, Obama, you see how close they are? It was like a letter or two, right? Obama, Osama. I think that's why they've changed the spelling of Osama, so it doesn't seem like it, because there's a lot of people who got those mixed up. But we could understand why, because we've got one, Osama, who we're told he's a terrorist, and then we have Obama, who we're pretty certain is a terrorist. More probable than not. How about that? So, pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. So, what's the story? Did Osama die in 2001 from the disease? Or was he killed in this raid? Those are the stories that are out there. And if you look through the world newspapers, Osama bin Laden also died 9 other times. That's right, 9 other times. He was in world press where he was killed. So it's not like he died and then it didn't make the news. World press. So somehow we had short attention span with our memory, and we forgot, and these stories would come out, and Osama bin Laden died 9 times, and then of course we have the raid, which we're told wasn't real. Okay, so very bizarre, very bizarre. But don't worry, because the White House had an answer to all of this. And of course, we know if the White House tells us something, that's the gospel truth, right? Let's see what they had to say. White House denies it. Well, then it must not be. It must be what they say. White House denies it. Fabricated bin Laden killing, says Hersh. Report riddled with inaccuracies. If anyone expected the Obama administration to admit that Seymour Hersh alleged last night it had openly lied and fabricated the entire account of Osama bin Laden killing, perhaps the most defining narrative of Obama's entire first term, would have some bad news. It won't. Instead, as AP reports, the White House has decided to continue its reality-challenged ways and has dismissed as untrue Hersh's entire 10K plus word report on what happened in Abbottabad. It gets better, according to that paragon of honesty, White House spokesman Josh Earnest. Hersh's piece in the London Review is riddled with inaccuracies and outright falsehoods. It was not immediately clear if Earnest referred to the press corps, to some fabricated YouTube clip as evidence it wasn't lying about lying. Earnest noted former CIA Deputy Director Michael Morales' reaction to the article that he stopped reading because every sentence was wrong. So, we've got the guy whose job is to stand up and lie to the people. I know he's a press secretary, but his job is to lie to the people. Okay? So we got the guy who probably is one of the biggest liars, got out there and tells us this book is riddled with inaccuracies. Yeah. Right. And that's exactly what, exactly the kind of person we should be listening to. The person who's doing the lying. What, do you think he's going to tell us? Of course he's not going to tell us. Of course they're lying. Osama bin Laden's been dead for a long time. They didn't go in. Those SEALs killed him. Nothing happened there. It was just all big lie. 9/11 was an inside job. Problem is, Americans still to this day haven't fully grasped that concept. There's still Americans out there. I know there are. Really, there are. Americans are out there who think 9/11 happened exactly the way that the government tells them. They don't believe the government, but they believe this one. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know why. But let's take a look at this here. I'm going to jump ahead to another story. Haven't had any pieces on by Brother Nathaniel in a while, so that's going to be remedied right now. Why? Because I've had requests for information on Brother Nathaniel. So here we go. Request fulfilled. If I can get to the button.
America's in big trouble, but we can't fix it until we pinpoint the problems. The economy. It's tanked and not getting any better. Wall Street, Jewish finance capital, has shipped our manufacturing jobs to China and our high-tech jobs to India. Our middle class is sunk. Fix. Slap a tariff on China-made products and lower business tax rates here. This stops Jewish Wall Street's treason, and our jobs come back home. Elections. Democracy is awarded to the highest bidder, and the Jews own both parties. Republicans kiss the arse of Sheldon Adelson, and Democrats suck up to AIPAC. Even little Rand grovels to the Jews. Fix. Register AIPAC as a foreign government agent and ban their campaign contributions. Then push Congress to pass the We the People Amendment that caps campaign spending to persons only and bans corporations from buying elections. Under the Act, rights under the Constitution belong to people, not PACs and corporations. Media. Jews own CBS, NBC, ABC, and CNN. They decide who will live and who will die. They ignored Ron Paul and smeared Pat Buchanan. This time, your choice, I mean their choice, will be Hillary Bush and Jeb Clinton. Fix. Restrict electioneering to a publicly funded national media forum, giving all candidates equal time. This stops Jewish bias and democracy comes back home. Money. Jewish bankers own the money-creating franchise called the Federal Reserve. They loan money to the government and gouge us with interest. Fix. Put the power of issuing money back into the hands of government as mandated by our Constitution. This stops the Jewish banking cabal and our sovereignty is restored. Culture. The Supreme Court, with 4 Jews favoring same-sex unions, is about to redefine marriage. This results in a polarized country and weakens moral resolve. Fix. Restrict the percentage of representation. Jews make up less than 2% of the population, yet have 45% representation on our highest bench. A reset would trash them all save one. Sotomayor could stay until we limit judicial terms of office. America's in trouble and everyone knows it. My fix is in. Make it happen, and we've got a fighting chance.
I will agree with him on all but one part. And that last part, where he said America is in trouble and everyone knows it, that's not the case, unfortunately. I think outside of America, everyone probably knows it. But inside America, you and I know there's a lot of people, we'll call them brain dead for lack of a better word. They have no clue that America's in trouble. They think everything's hunky-dory. There's a bunch of people out there that believe what Obama's doing is right on, thumbs up, doing an excellent job. So there's a lot of people who don't believe that this country is in trouble. When we know it is, we see it is, it's escalating. The liars, the thieves, they've taken over the White House. Thugs are running loose in this country. There's instigators causing problems. We have alphabet agencies that are disguised as terrorists, and they're creating false flags. On and on and on it goes. And the only ones who are going to get through this are the ones who are paying attention to what is taking place. That's really the only thing, you know. There's Jade Helm 15 exercise that's ramping up. It's got a lot of people worried. Is this something that we really need to pay attention to? I've been hearing some interesting stories from military returning back, you know, from Iraq, and hearing stories that they're being asked if they're willing to turn their guns on American citizens. One particular story I was told just the other day was of a returning soldier asked if he would turn his guns on American citizens and shoot them if need be, and he told them no. And he was told that, well, he was going to go to jail because within the next 6 months there was some sort of action Obama was going to be taking that was going to require the troops to be out interacting against the American people. I didn't expect to have a conversation about this, but sure enough, that came up. And the person didn't know what I do. They just simply shared a story of a relative who was in the military and what they were told. And all I was doing was I was telling them about Jade Helm 15. They didn't know what that was, but when I explained the exercise and then they recalled the story of their relative, suddenly they're like, oh yeah, I know what they're talking about. This is what my relative told me. This is what's going on in the military. So we've got lies, lies, and more lies coming out of the White House. Okay? If the White House tries to pretend that they're not telling a lie, we know. Okay? They're telling lies. If their lips move, they're lying. Obama's been lying since the time he's been in there. Now, I don't want to pile on Obama because Bush, big liar as well. They all lie. They all lie. We got big problems. Okay? The Federal Reserve, which is running the show, they're a foreign entity. They're not American-based. Foreign entity. And yet they're running the show. People say, how did that happen? Well, when you go back to the Federal Reserve first coming into power in the United States, it's connected with the IRS. And it all has to do with them being involved as the caretakers or those who are running the U.S. corporation. So when people say, why is it important that we know that the U.S. is a corporation? Because prior to that, we were the United States of America and we were sovereign. But once we became a corporation, we lost our sovereignty and we were a corporation run by foreign interests. And then the Social Security system came in place and United States citizens had to make a choice. If you got rid of your Social Security number, you no longer lived in the sovereign United States, but in the corporate territory of the United States. And therefore you lost all of those rights that you had. Very important. We should know our history, because if we don't, well, there's problems. They say if we don't remember our history, we're doomed to repeat it. It's like the story I did last week. April 1861, just before the Civil War, there was a riot in Baltimore. Flash forward 154 years, April 2015, there's a riot in Baltimore. And we have a lot of talk about civil war in the air. There seems to be a racial divide going on. The media is really pushing this hard. Is there a connection? Quite possibly. I think we need to pay attention, because if we don't, before you know it, we're going to have these problems at our front door and we're going to be wondering what we do then. The best solution is to deal with them before they even escalate and become a big problem. And in order to do that, you got to think. You got to use your critical thinking, common sense. It's not real difficult. We know White House lies. We don't have to keep listening to their lies. We listen to their lies. We know they're lying. And then suddenly we expect that they're going to tell the truth. You know what that's called? That's called insanity. Actually believing that they're going to change. Because they've been lying year after year after year after year after year after year after year. So in the same way, like the story I showed you, 33 times that Americans have been fooled by false flags. Well, who's been behind those false flags? Americans, that's right. So 33 times when Americans were fooled, they were fooled because 33 times American government lied to them. Put those two together and you start to see, American government's not necessarily our friends. They pretend that they are, but they're really not. We'd like them to be. There were good people in power at one point, but now it's too corrupt. And that's why we have the problems. That is why, my friends, we need to wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Because if we don't wake up, well, we're going to be in big problems. All right. Moving on now. Changing gears. We all have psychic powers. Here's an article by Michelle Walling over at In5D. How to refine them. How to refine your psychic powers. Do you see auras, energy, or hear tones or voices? Do you know who is calling before you answer the phone? Have you ever had a dream that came true? Refining psychic powers takes a little concentration and time, but with practice, you can tune in to the next level of vibration to receive messages from your guides and to communicate with various other forms of consciousness. From September equinox through December solstice 2013, humanity was gifted with accelerated shifts in energy that have allowed for the activation of the pineal gland, the third eye, and the pituitary glands. When these glands are activated, they trigger the heart chakra opening, which opens a doorway to the higher self. The higher self is the mind of your oversoul and has a higher perspective and a database of information and truths that have previously been veiled from our awareness. This new awareness of our connection to our oversoul and ultimately to our Creator is described in spiritual terms as a shift in consciousness. Society has predominantly been left-brained. That means linear, closed mind, or scientific. Psychic abilities, intuitive feelings, and creative outlets are accessed by using the right side of the brain. The pineal gland is the base of the brain, and the activities of the right side of the brain as it is showered with the light. The pituitary gland connects the pineal gland, and when connected to the heart chakra, creates a pathway through which consciousness can exit the physical body and explore other dimensions. Coupled with the grand transformation we are experiencing, our third-dimensional carbon-based cells are being transformed into fifth-dimensional crystalline cells. Crystals have the ability to hold data and to open doorways of communication. As our bodies transform, we will be able to communicate with the higher self and other forms of existence with ease. Everything on the planet is energy and has consciousness. Psychic communication with consciousness can be achieved by diverting the conscious mind, left-brained monkey mind, in order to allow the subconscious, the right brain, to connect with the planet of existence of that particular consciousness you are communicating with. Those with psychic abilities who are able to tap into the vibration of energy for communication, as well as interpret energies traditionally unheard of or unseen by almost most people. Most babies and small children are able to see energy fields until about 5 or 6 years of age, until the brain learns to distinguish between the inner field and the outer field. Let's try this. Smile at a baby. Watch them check out your energy above your head rather than looking into your eyes. This explains why some babies look like they are fascinated by your beautifully colored aura and why some people cry at clouds of dark energies around other people. Unfortunately, when children learn to talk, their parents tell them that they are seeing people as just in their imagination, and things change. Of course, we see the fluoride, GMOs, all of this has an effect. So here's some examples. ESP, telepathy, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, psychometry, prophecy or precognition, telekinesis, and channeling. And we got some good tips here. How to reclaim psychic powers. Some ways are meditation, prayer and intention, awareness and recognition, spending time in nature, watch your diet, healing the chakra, and clearing and balancing. And then a little bit more here on the future of them. It says our consciousness has been trapped within our body in the past, but the walls are being dissolved. Our future involves telepathy and heart-based communication, but humans as an everyday occurrence, between humans as an everyday occurrence, light-based thinking and feeling illuminates truth and openness, which is the key to ending domination and control on this planet. Peace, love, truth, and compassion are found within this new heart-based way of living. All right, so this is a very good article. There's certainly more to the article than what I read, so go back, read the details. But everybody has psychic abilities. Some people tune into them, hone them, get better at them. Some people ignore them and think that they're not there. Some people think that they're bad if they're tuning in. What a world we live in, that when we start tuning into things around us, we're considered to be, using bad energies. Crazy how the world is. All right, let's move. This is Hilarion, our message for today.
Hilarion.
May 10th through the 17th, 2015, by Marlene Swetleshoff.
Hilarion.
Beloved ones, there are signs everywhere of the changes that are taking place upon your planet. These changes are diverse and encompass many spectrums of life. The Earth changes reflect the changes within humanity as they strive to cope and to understand what is occurring. Each tragedy that occurs brings out the best within humanity as they strive to give what they can to assist. Many questions are being asked within all hearts, for it seems as though the world that they knew is crumbling and falling apart. Humanity is experiencing the effects of their planet shaking off the chains of the past as she moves into her rightful place in the universe. These changes have occurred many times through the millennia, but in these times, humanity has an opportunity to rise above and emerge victorious. It is a time for each person to go within and seek to know self, their divine self. It is a time to achieve and maintain equilibrium in one's management of their inner and outer lives, to make choice and decision as to the path that they follow. As the past dissolves, new beginnings are emerging in their glorious potential and possibilities. Many of you are now firmly on the path of your destiny, doing what brings you your greatest joy and happiness. Others are in the midst of challenges that seem too great to bear. They are learning to have strength, determination, and persistence. Those are very important soul qualities to have. As you see those that you know and care about going through their personal challenges, send your love and healing to everyone around you, for that is what each person wants most, to love and be loved, for it is love that is the mightiest force in the universe and can be a healing balm when most needed. Nurture and care for each other with the utmost love, honor and respect, for it is also a time of moving beyond self and into the field of oneness, of joining in the expansion and evolution into a higher consciousness and understanding. Call often upon your spiritual guides and angels when help and hope is needed, and remember that you are never alone, that you are constantly surrounded by love, for love is all there is. It is good to sit for a few moments each day to feel and experience this love within your hearts, minds, and souls. Connect to that which gives you sustenance and daily inspiration in whatever way works best for you. Be at peace and stay calm as the inner and outer changes take place. You are here to master duality by embracing all aspects of your being. As you let go of your resistance and denials of hidden aspects of yourselves, realize that everything that happens is good. Whether perceived as good or bad, right or wrong, it is all given to you in love in order that you might hone yourselves into masters of this realm, to reclaim your divine birthright as children of the divine. You chose these experiences in order that you might gain a greater understanding of the nuances and complexities of the journey back to Source, with you as the victor. Keep this ever in your thoughts and move forward when you must, and rest and nurture when your physical body prompts. As you attune to the greater rhythms of your life, all will be well. Until next week. I am Hilarion.
Alright, good message of change. That brings us to page 70 of the Warrior of the Light. I hope you like these Warrior of Light passages. I think they're very insightful, and that's why I'm reading them. Whenever the warrior draws his sword, he uses it. It can be used to clear a path, to help someone, to fend off danger, but a sword is a capricious thing and does not like to see its blade exposed for no good reason. That is why the warrior never makes threats. He can attack, defend himself, or flee. All of these attitudes form part of combat. It is not, however, part of combat to diminish the force of a blow by talking about it. A warrior of light is always alert to the movement of his sword, but he never forgets that his sword is watching his every move as well. It is not made to be used by the mouth. Very, very good advice. Very good advice. Okay, we all have the sword. Remember, swords are words. Take the first letter S away from sword, word. So when we're dealing with a sword, yeah, we're dealing with something that goes and can kill and chop and cut. But guess what? Our words can do exactly the same thing. So when we're going to speak the words, we want to take responsibility for what we're saying, know that our words are also paying attention to us, because there is a thing called karma, and we can go crazy and say all kind of things, but we need to at some point in time answer to that in some degree or another. So we need to basically stand by what we say. Very important indeed. All right, meditation time. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, and exhale again. Another deep breath, and exhale. And again, and breathe this energy, feel it going deep inside, and exhale. And with every breath, just feel this energy recirculating through your body, going through each and every one of your cells. And as it goes through all of your cells, your body feels rejuvenated and energized. The doubts, the fears, the things that are necessary to the process of life and breathing are just released. So we send and imagine ourselves filled with love, so that all that's being released is released with love. Released back into the universe so it becomes usable again. Now let's imagine ourselves walking the path of life. And as we walk the path of life, we hear the stories coming from television sets and radios. And we see the newspapers along the way, and we realize there is a great deception all around us. We see people upon the street paying attention to all of these stories, and we see the look of confusion on their faces. What to believe, what not to believe. And so as we walk, we simply send from our third eye the idea of truthfulness. We send it out into the world to everyone we see. And from our heart chakra, we send out love. And between this truthfulness and love, we see the look upon each and every individual's face change as they are affected positively by these energies. And then suddenly, as if a door to truth was opened, they see past the illusion. And one by one, people begin seeing past the illusion as they are affected by this truth sent to them. And one by one, they begin to share the truth with others. So pretty soon, the illusion around the entire earth dissipates. And we begin to see truly what is going on, what this is about, and how we are all involved. So we realize at this point that we do have the ability, each and every one of us, to make a change in this world. A positive change just simply by changing the positive energies around us. So we imagine the energies around us filled with positivity. And we allow that to spread itself into the world, so that which we put out into the world, the love and the positivity, affects all. And we trust and have faith that all will be well. So let's imagine ourselves walking along the path, just sending out light and love and positivity. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is the show for today. Thank you for being here. Remember, we're all in this together. There's a lot of stuff going on, but if we bond together, if we, confide in each other what we know, and we share what's going on out in the world, we keep our networks open. We keep ourselves in a place to move forward with positivity. Because despite the fact that there are some really nutty things going on and some really nutty people in the world trying to do these things, there's a lot of good people. Not everybody has Simon Bar Sinister syndrome. or is trying to act like Snidely Whiplash or Dr. Evil. We have a lot of good people. So we just need to trust that, and trust that the good is going to rise to the surface and all the other nonsense will just dissipate. We just got to keep thinking positivity and positively, and all will be well. That's it. I'll be back tomorrow, more than likely. So you have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other. Talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.